Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Students, today we are going to start the first lesson of Goodbye Mr. Chips. In this chapter, Mr. Chips' routine at Mrs. Wicket's. When the novel opens, we find Mr. Chips living a retired life at Mrs. Wicket's. He had been living here for more than 10 years, but still he kept the timetable of Brookfield School like some old sea captain. He measured time by the signals of the past. He sat by the fire, taking his tea and listening to the school bell sounding dinner, call over, prep, and lights out. He always wound up the clock after that last bell. Then he put the wire guard in front of the fire, turned out the gas, and carried a detective novel to bed. Sleep overtook him before completing a page or so. Next event is Dr. Marvel's view about Mr. Chip's health. Dr. Marvel was kind enough to visit Mr. Chips regularly. Every fortnight, he admired his health and said that he was fitter than the doctor himself. He was the lucky one who would die a natural death. But when Chips had a cold or when the east winds blew, Marvel would become worried. He then advised Mrs. Wicket to take special care of Mr. Chips. Chips was only advancing in age and there was nothing more to worry. Next event that is discussed in this chapter, Mr. Chips' birth. Mr. Chips was born in 1848. He went to the Great Exhibition as a small child. There were very few people alive who could remember such an old incident. When Mr. Chips joined at Brookfield, Mr. Chips joined Brookfield in 1870. It was the same year when the war between France and Prussia broke out. At that time, Mr. Chips was a handsome, impressive young man. He was fashionable, dressed he was fashionably dressed according to the Victorian style. He had already taught at Melbury Public School for 1 year. There he could not maintain discipline and was badly teased by the boys. That is why he did not like that school, but he liked Brookfield very much from the beginning till the end. He remembered the day of his interview. It was a sunny day of July. The air was full of fragrance. In the cricket ground, Brookfield was playing Barnhurst School. Chips also remembered that one of the Barnhurst boys scored a brilliant century. The next four events that we will discuss in the next lecture: Mr. Chips' first meeting with Mr. Weatherby, Mr. Chips' first class at Brookfield, Mr. Chips' joke when he met Collie's son, and the last one, Mr. Chips' joke when he met the third Collie. Okay, beta, Allah Hafiz.